It is my great honor to introduce our next reader, Stephanie Doeing. I don't even know if I'm saying her last name right.
You got it.
I just have a few facts about Stephanie. So I know Stephanie and I got to work together on 14 Hills. Yeah. Stephanie was a talented fiction editor, and she also has an interview coming out on 14 Hills in the winter or the fall or winter issue coming up in December, which I read because I copied it and it was amazing. And she's also recently been published in Gesture, which is Maddie's online journal. So keep that in mind. Last year she won the Leo Litwalk Award for Fiction as well. I also just to personally reveal things. Stephanie sometimes has rats for pets. And under her religious views on her Facebook page, she's quoted as saying, "When you die, your eyes pop out." So please help me welcome Stephanie. Thank you.
So this piece I'm going to read is inspired by all the action movies that I've been watching since I got my wisdom teeth out. So we watched a lot, and it was very entertaining. And this is just what came out. The first section is called My Mom. My mother watches way too many movies. She sits through at least 2 a night, wine glass in hand, before passing out. In 1 year, she watches about 500 movies. By this point, she has probably seen every plotline that exists, and now can call out the ending of a new movie halfway through. I'm not sure why she sits there every night doing the same thing, but I suspect it has something to do with escapism. I visit her over the weekend and notice there's something a little different about her. She looks both surprised and sly, with a smooth forehead and one half-lidded eye. It's as though her face was frozen in mid-wink. "That's what I get for trying to do cheap Botox," she says. She says the word Botox as if it were in quotes. I don't want to ask her what she means by that. "Mom," I say, "you don't need Botox. You look great." "I'm getting old," she says. "They don't even listen to me at work because I'm losing my looks." My mom is a credit manager and spends most of her time making collection calls to clients who are past due. I'm not sure what forehead wrinkles have to do with her job. I suspect her worries have more to do with all these Hollywood movies she's watching and the forever young, flawless movie starlets that she also reads about in tabloids. "How about some wine?" I say. I come back with 2 large glasses and we sit together and watch TV. In the middle of a cheesy romance movie, a commercial comes on for the Steven Spielberg film Minority Report, which came out in 2002 and stars Tom Cruise. The cable network is so proud to have acquired the rights to play it that they will air it 5 times in the next week. "What a joke," my mom snorts. "It wasn't that bad," I say. "But I came up with that idea 20 years ago," she says. "If only I had written it down. I would be so rich right now." She tells me her version of the story was called The Bad Seed. I don't tell her there's already a movie with that title. And also that Philip K. Dick came up with the idea for Minority Report before she was even born. Instead, I ask her what her story was like. "In a world," she says, "where violence is determined by genetics, each person is scanned when they are born to determine if they'll be a future criminal. They put that person's predicted future actions in a big system, and this allows the police to instantly figure out who the culprit is for each crime. However, in order to convict criminals, the cops still have to provide traditional evidence. So this is where the bad seed comes in. He's committing crimes, and they know he's doing it, but they can't prove it. He's tricking them by leaving too much evidence," she says. Stands on wobbly legs to get more wine. So the police, naturally, are pretty unhappy. Part 2, The Police. It's Monday morning breakfast at the station. We hold sacred pastries lightly in our fingers raised up as we give thanks. Take this maple bacon donut as communion, savor the cinnamon apple glaze. Through the ingestion of a blueberry crumbled donut with honey lavender frosting, we will celebrate the divine briefing we are about to receive. Chief Johnson takes a tangerine chocolate cake one with crystallized sugar sprinkles, but does he savor it? No. He chews robotically with his brows drawn together in thought. Something's bothering him. He clears his throat. Gentlemen, he says, you know it pains me to discuss bad news over breakfast. Gentlemen, he says, according to the system, a bad seed will soon commit murder, and I don't like it. Our approval rate has gone way down, and nobody appreciates how much we keep the crime down. The cyber hippies are on our backs again, preaching their peace and love nonsense, and then we have those robo-philosophers lining up outside ranting about free will. We chortle over our donuts at the idea of free will. I miss the old days, Chief Johnson says, when we could throw a criminal in the slammer and be done with it. None of this burden of proof nonsense. A bad seed is a bad seed, and it will never grow right. But the public doesn't understand that. And so, in the upcoming elections, we are at risk of losing our funding. The department, he says, is at the risk of being dismantled. We solemnly nod and pass around the Monte Cristo plate. Glazed donuts filled with caramelized ham, melted Gruyere cheese, and homemade jam. We need all eyes on this man, he says, passing around a photo. I have a hunch he's the one that's going to blow, and we need the proof. We need the proof before anything happens. A detective chokes on a pumpkin donut topped with chocolate chips and a nutmeg glaze. We need 24-hour surveillance, he says. We need to show that he was on a clear path to destruction and that we, the city's finest, have caught him and could have, with increased power, prevented him from going off in the first place. This program will stay and it will gain power. We can tell those bleeding hearts out there to take their free will and shove it up their butts. We cheer, knocking our donuts together. The bad seed didn't know what was coming to him. Number 3, the bad seed. All my life, I have been watched. The security officers in the grocery store follow me around as if I were a criminal, when all I want to do is buy bread. And at work, too. Up and down the hallways, I sweep and sweep. You wouldn't think anyone cares about what I push with my broom, but the cameras turn and follow me with their robot eyes around every corner. In my whole life, I have never been in an empty public bathroom. There's always someone coughing in the stall, a faceless pair of feet that will never come out. Even in my apartment, I feel surrounded, with thin walls, sharing my neighbor's every utterance and movement. Sometimes I will walk down the sidewalk in the middle of the night, just to get some air, and there are always footsteps ringing out behind me. I would give everything I have just to be left alone. Even right now, that old lady over there is staring at me, the one with the bald head. What is her problem? Am I a freak to her too? She is leaning over the railing and shamelessly examining me. If she keeps staring at me like that, I might lose it. I might murder her. Number 4, Ruby Morris, a dead woman. It is a sad thing to be a woman and bald. Some days I cursed my mother for instilling such a stubborn pride in me. You must accept yourself no matter what, she said, and you must not hide who you are. So for many years I have displayed my shining dome in public, maybe tying a scarf around it on a bad day, just as my mother would have wanted. But what did I get? Nothing good, I tell you. The world does not care for pride in ugly people. I could hear the children laugh on the bus, the whispers in church. My heart was broken, but still I kept on. Many sad nights I sat alone. What I would have given for a wig. How stubborn I was and how unhappy. And now I'm dead, you see, and I should not be crying, but, oh, if only I had a wig. Not too long before I died, I caught myself staring at a young man sweeping the train station. His body was hunched over as if to hide himself. But then he looked up at me, and there was something so tortured in his eyes, I couldn't decide if he was an angel or a demon. This same man appeared later as I bled on the floor, and he loomed over my body and sprinkled something from a bag all over my apartment. It was hair, yes. Hair of all different types with dust particles and dirt mingled in. Hair from the floors, swept up after strangers who had too much, and now laid over a poor old woman who had none. I would have been touched by the gesture of this man, if only I weren't dead. Number 5, Mom, again. So what happens next, I asked. Did the cops catch the bad seed? Did he murder that lady, or was he framed? Is this where the twist comes in? Oh, it's time for bed, my mom says with a yawn. Just watch the movie. She has sagged down in the couch and twirls her hair around her finger. They pretty much took my whole idea. Not really, I say. I think the movie makes a little more sense. The wine glass in her hand now points to the floor. Luckily, it's empty. My mom puts her hand up and covers her face with her fingers splayed out. Well, she says, peering at me from behind 2 fingers, I would have been rich. And with the tiniest wink of her droopy eye, she closes her eyes and begins to snore. 6. How it ends. The bad seed is no longer bad, nor is he a seed. He is Tom Cruise, professional action movie hero. He is 5 foot 7 inches tall, and sometimes wears shoes with a hidden platform inside. In this final scene, he stands by the window with a woman, a short-haired brunette, and looks out at the rain-soaked city with a contemplative half-smile. In her womb, his seed is growing. It seems as though he has beat the system, doesn't it? He is free and innocent, and the cops, those donut-loving scoundrels, have had their department dismantled. And all the other bad seeds have been released as well. They roam the world with enormous grudges in their hearts, bitterly thinking about their lost years as they push dirt around with brooms. Tom Cruise has come to terms with his past and does not feel as much pain as he used to. It seems almost too good to be true, doesn't it? It seems as if everything was just a dream.
For reading. I think we're going to take like a 2-3 minute quick break in case anybody. Yeah, if you like